It's 6 p.m. on Wednesday, April the 12th, and we will be opening the Board of Adjustments meeting for the City of Raymore. Call to order.
Commissioner Martin.
Just say here. Roll call.
Roll call.
Presence.
Perfect. Commissioner Bailey. Chairman Hatcher.
Here.
And Commissioner Woods.
Here.
And then we have Commissioner Harrison, who is absent.
If everyone would please stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any personal appearances this evening? Seeing none, we will go to the consent agenda, which is for the approval of the minutes from the June 21st, 2022 meeting. It has been a while since we've all gathered. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those meeting minutes? If so, can I have a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 21st, 2022.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Next is new business. Mr. Zur or Mr. Gress, I may need a little assistance in this because I have never been here for an election of officers.
So the last time we had an election of officers was back in 2021. And so we did not hold one in 2022, but normally we hold an election of officers every November, or at least the first meeting in November is what we hold election of officers for. Obviously, since we didn't have an application in November, this is the first meeting closest to November, and so we're holding the election of officers. The current slate is Chairman Hatcher, Vice Chair Woods, and Secretary Harrison. I had emailed Mr. Harrison earlier to see if he was still amenable to being secretary. I have not received a response. But generally what would happen is if you all were still interested in retaining those seats, we would just need somebody to say, you to say aye, or that you would accept that, or we can individually vote new members in. So it's up to the dais.
Okay. I'm willing to still hold this position unless someone else is really wanting to do it. Okay.
And I agree.
Okay, and you're willing
And I'm willing to hold my
Okay, and we'll
position as
assume
well.
Mr. Harrison is willing to accept his. Okay, and then do we take a vote on that?
That is correct.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
There would be a motion.
Oh,
Hold on.
sorry, I
Yep.
need a motion first. Could you make a motion over here?
If I might.
Oh,
Sorry. There you go. So motion to approve the slate as presented, which would include Ms. Hatcher as chair, Ms. Woods as,
Vice Chair.
thank you, and Mr. Harrison as secretary. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
I need to make that full motion. Make a motion, we have Pam Hatcher as chairman, so who is the
Commissioner Martin,
Vice Chair?
you may speak into the microphone.
Harrison is treasurer? Oh, I'm sorry. It's on, okay. Make a motion that Pam Hatcher be elected as chairman,
Terry Woods.
as the vice chairman, and Mr. Harrison as the treasurer,
secretary.
secretary.
I'll second that motion,
Very good.
if I can.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Excellent.
Okay. Next is the 2023 meeting calendar, and I'm assuming we're also approving this since we've had no meetings.
Yes.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the 2023 meetings and deadlines as it has been presented.
Motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seconded?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay. Motion passes.
Good.
Okay. Next on the new business is case number 23009, the Raymore Senior Village. Now, my understanding is we need to go ahead and open this for the public hearing because it was posted.
That is correct.
Okay. So the public hearing is opened at 6:05 PM. Is there anyone here to speak on that? Seeing none, staff?
Thank you, Ms. Hatcher and members of the board. So Mr. Gress had sent you all, and what you'll see in your packet is a memo regarding kind of everything that had taken place with the application. Initially, the variance was submitted, and then later a site plan. Once we received that site plan, we had noticed that a variance would not be necessary, and so therefore the applicant had withdrawn their application. However, within that time frame, we had already posted the notice of publication, so that's the reasoning for us holding this public hearing. That would conclude staff report.
Okay, thank you. The public hearing is now closed at 6:06. Do I need to do any motions no approvals? We're done with that?
Nope.
Great.
No action taken.
Okay,
Open and close the public hearing is all you need to do.
wonderful, thank you. We'll move on to case number 23010 at 100 North Woodson Drive. This is a variance to allow a fence to be located in the front yard setback. We will open the public hearing at 6:07 PM. Is there anyone here to speak? Please come forward. State your name and your address.
Yes, hello. My name is Juan Molina. I live in 100 North Woodson Drive for about 4 or 5 years ago. So we are planning to build our fence, but we live in a corner lot. So we we want to do that like 3 years ago, but our last people that don't know let it doing like the way it was right now. So right now we planning to put it all like in the front and in the corner lot in the backyard. So our backyard is chain link fence right now. So we pretty much no need replace right now, but for some privacy and some for our pet and our kid, we planning to do it. So the thing is, we live in a corner lot. We know that you guys have some rules and you want to keep it the rules, but we want to keep it like the same way it is the old fence right now, like the chain link right now. That's our plan. I mean, our plan, right now we have it, it's like the old model, you know. I know regular is like 11 feet from the edges to the back end. Right now it's right there. So that's all wanted to apply, so you guys can do that for us. So that's it.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
We have a question.
Yes.
So you want the new fence to go in the same place where the chain link fence is?
Yes, that's our plans.
Okay.
That's what we want to go, because we have some we have a playground for the kids, and you know, that's why we love it, that house, because have a big yard and everything is very fenced off. Our kids love that. Our pet love that thing, and we want to keep it the same it is right now. Does not affect any visible for any, like, you know, or neighbors, I think. That's what we want to do, and for some more, like, you know, privacy for our pet and our kid, and we want to keep it where it is right now. Like,
Okay,
that's our concerns, you know.
great.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Any more questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Staff report?
Thank you, Mr. Molina. Good evening. So tonight you'll have in front of you a variance to allow for a 6-foot privacy fence located within the front yard setback. Property is located at 100 North Woodson Drive. You'll see several site pictures, all from it'll be the north, south, east, and west of the property. Existing zoning for this is R1 Single Family Residential District. As this was a public hearing, it was posted March 22nd, 2023 in the North Cass Herald newspaper. Items to enter into the record will be the mailed notices to adjoining property owners, notice of publication, Unified Development Code, the application, growth management plan, staff report, and then you'll see there was initially one email in there in support of the application, but there was also 2 additional emails that came in after you all had received your packet, so wanted to make sure we entered that into the record, and that should be on the dais for you to review. A little bit of history on the property. This property is part of the Rolling Hills First Plat, which was approved in 1973, and the home was built in 1975. One thing to note is that the house directly to the west originally had burned down in around 2015, and so that house originally had a driveway that was actually off of Maple instead of Murphy. And so wanted to make note that had there been 2 driveways on this, staff would not have been supportive of the application, as that would cause potential issues for either neighbor. As part of the Unified Development Code, there's a couple of items to look at when fences are proposed. With the first, items A, B, and C, if the rear yard of the corner is adjacent to a rear yard or another corner lot, which it does, the front of each of the homes faces opposite directions, and then there's no driveway on either side of the home on an adjacent street or both of the lots. Obviously, C is the one that we're in contention of right now. However, the fence has been in the same spot for several years prior to the adoption of the amended code, which prohibited the fence. Also, with it being a 4-foot fence and going to a 6-foot fence, that's what's really kind of triggering this variance. Another thing is if we were to require the applicant to move the fence back to where in your packet you'll see where the fence would need to go back and how much of their yard they would lose. There's actually a tree very close to where that fence would need to be located if this application were denied, which would cause quite a bit of issues when it comes to manicuring and just maintenance of the lawn. Another item to mention is that if the board were to approve this application, they would still need to file for a fence permit application and then pay any associated fees with that. Staff does submit their findings of fact and recommends to the Board of Adjustments accept the staff proposed findings of fact and approve case number 23010 located at 100 North Woodson Drive.
Okay. Do any board members have any questions to staff? Any additional questions overall? Okay, the public hearing is now closed at 6:14. Would any board member?
Chairman? I'm not sure you gave individuals from within the public to speak
Oh.
for the public hearing as well before you closed it.
My apologies. Let me reopen the public hearing at 6:14. Is there anyone here from the public that wishes to speak?
Good evening. My name is Peter Kardash. I own the property at corner of Maple and Murphy Drive, which our backyards are adjacent to the Molinas. And first of all, I want to credit the work and research all of you have done. Everything, I can attest to everything that was said was extremely accurate. And I just wanted to voice my support of allowing the Molinas to align the fence the way that they have requested. And I think it'll be an improvement to the neighborhood. I think it retains the integrity of their property. And I think it keeps stray dogs from running up and down and, you know, really teasing their dogs and kids and what have you. And I just think it'd be a big improvement.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for my time.
Any other questions? Anyone else? Public hearing is now closed at 6:15. Would any board member like to make a motion or discuss?
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve case number 23010, 100 North Woodson Drive, the variance to allow the fence to be located in the front yard setback.
Anyone second?
Second.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes on case number 23010 at 100 North Woodson Drive with the variance to allow the fence to be located in the front yard setback. Yep. Thank you. Next is case number 23011 at 1535 Horseshoe Drive, variance to allow the fence to be located in the front yard setback. Public hearing opens at 6:16. Is there anyone from is the applicant here?
Yes.
Okay, please come forward and state your name and your address.
Name's Travis Self, 1535 Horseshoe Drive, and we bought the property late September last year. The original fence was still there. It's 4-foot picket wood, and it was rotting, dilapidated, falling down. We have a lot of foot traffic for children on that stretch right there because we're a block and a half north of the school on Fox Ridge. And we got a couple poodles in the backyard, and people that walk their dogs nightly and every morning usually on that street. And with those pickets, the wind could blow them off, so I just took action and started rebuilding my fence because it was already there and existed. So, and I got most of it done, and then the city left me a note on the door that says you can't do that.
So, and you found yourself here in front of us.
And here we are. Later.
Welcome.
But anyways, and I'd bought pickets that were 2 foot higher to help with the safety of the kids walking by and the dogs and people's dogs and just public safety on either side, really, and make it look a lot better to the eye. Being on a corner lot, it's very visible from both directions. And the fence is actually in line, well, it's the original fence that was there with the house, same post, didn't change anything post-wise. It's in line with the neighbor's fence behind us. It's just 2 foot taller. And hopefully I can continue it.
That's the picture.
Okay. Board members have any questions of the applicant? Okay. Thank you very much. Staff report?
Thank you, Mr. Self. Tonight you have in front of you, again, a variance to allow for a fence to be constructed on a property line. Property is located at 1535 Horseshoe Drive. You'll see several pictures from the north, south, and east and west that staff had taken, and then also the applicant had taken additional pictures and submitted it with the application, so that is why you see multiple pictures within your packet. Current zoning for the property is R1P, Single Family Residential Plan District. Within the growth management plan, the future land use plan identifies this area as appropriate for low density, while the major street plan classifies South Fox Ridge Drive as a minor collector and Horseshoe Drive as a local road. Advertisement was posted as this is a public hearing, again in the paper, March 22nd of 2023. As this is a public hearing, I wanted to enter some items into the record. Mailed notices to adjoining property owner, notice of publication, Unified Development Code, the application, growth management plan, staff report, and there was one additional email in support of the variance. And so you'll see that on the dais as well. A little bit of history on the property. Stonegate, the Good Ranch third plat was approved in 1998. And the home was then constructed in 1999. A permit was obtained for a 4-foot wooden privacy fence in 2007, which was obviously before we had amended the code. To try and not discuss the same exact topics, because this is a very similar application from the last one, I will not repeat much of what I said the last. Many of the fences within Stonegate neighborhood were constructed prior to the adoption of the code provision, meaning they were permitted before they were originally built. Another item, just making sure that if this were to be approved tonight, they would have to go through and apply for a fence permit, and any associated fees would need to be paid. After having been on the site personally and taking pictures actually from the property directly to the south of it, I mean, there was enough room for a car length to be able to pull out and make sure that there wasn't anything that was going to impede any type of traffic. And as that is a pretty major thoroughfare within that subdivision, quite a few people walk, and so can definitely agree with a lot of what the applicant has said. Staff does submit their proposed findings of fact and recommends that the Board of Adjustment accept the staff proposed findings of fact and approve case number 23011, 1535 Horseshoe Drive for a fence variance. This concludes staff report.
Thank you. Do any of the board members have any questions for staff? Do we have anyone here this evening that wants to speak on case number 23011 at 1535 Horseshoe Drive? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed at 6:21. Do I have a motion or any discussion on this case number 23011?
Make a motion, we approve the request on case 23011 of 1535 Horseshoe Drive, variance.
Board Member Martin, I believe your microphone was possibly off.
I'm sorry. Make a motion on case number 23011, 1533 Horseshoe Drive, that we approve the request as presented.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes, and we accept the staff's proposed findings of fact and approve case number 23011 at 1535 Horseshoe Drive. Next on the agenda is staff comments.
Just wanted to welcome you all back. It's great to see you all again. It seemed as though it took forever, and was hoping for an application just so that we could get together, and we ended up getting 3 at once. So really happy to see you all back, and really that just concludes my portion of the staff report, but we'll toss it over to Mr. Grass.
Thank you.
And again, I'll follow with Mr. Eppert. Welcome back. I haven't seen you all in maybe more than a year. So it's good to have the group back. But since we don't meet very often, you all don't really have a chance to keep up or be informed with some of the things that are going on. I did want to let the board know the mayor has appointed 2 additional alternates to the board, so we will have a full board moving forward after those resolutions are signed. Mr. Eppert and myself will sit down with the 2 members and kind of orient them and introduce them to the process, but hopefully they'll be on board by the time the next application comes around for a meeting.
Do we get to share who they are?
Yes, one of them, her name is Stephanie Velasco. The other one is Lindsay Foster. Both of them are here, Raymore residents. I do not know off the top of my head which wards they reside in, but they will be included on the emails and communications back and forth moving forward.
Thank you.
You bet. And thank you all again for your service on the board as well. Again, since we don't meet very often, I don't get to chat with most of you all. I did want to take a moment and just go over the monthly report. There should have been a copy in your packet. And each month, staff will try and do a little bit better job of forwarding these to you as well. They're posted on the website, but usually helps just to have it right there in your email box. But there has been a few exciting projects that staff feels that are worth sharing with the Board of Adjustment. Within the month of March, there was a lot of activity at the Raymore Commerce Center, which is the industrial park there off of I-49 in North Cass. You may have seen an announcement here recently. The first project that was initiated there was Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. They're one of the nation's largest distributors of wine and spirits across the country. They purchased the building at the northernmost boundary of that property, the one you can see directly from North Cass, for their Missouri Distribution Center, which was a really big win for the city. They are still under construction on the inside improvements of that building, which is why there's not a lot of activity on the outside. But they are working. They still have about a year left of work to do in there with some of their racking and conveyor systems and so forth. But a good addition to the community within that building. And then about a month and a half ago, a company called Newly, which is a subsidiary of Urban Outfitters, they made the choice to lease approximately 604,000 square feet within Building 3, which is the southernmost facility in that park. And they are a clothing subscription rental company through Urban Outfitters, and their company has grown so much that they needed 604,000 additional square feet. So we're excited that they chose Raymore. We actually had some contacts with them about 2 years ago for another project that ended up going to a different community on the Kansas side. So we were excited that they came back to Raymore for the second project. So very exciting down there. There is a lot of work going on down at the Commerce Center, so you'll see in your report a fair number of commercial inspections took place during March with Mr. Warner. But in general, I did want to highlight a couple staff items as well. A week ago, Mr. Eppert, myself, and Planning and Zoning Commissioner Kelly Fizer, we attended the APA Planning Conference in Philadelphia, which was an exciting trip to come back with some new ideas and just to hear about what other cities across the country are doing. And then in addition, within the department, we have had a couple staff anniversaries in the department. Ty Erickson, who is our building inspector, who works under Mr. Warner, the building official, he celebrated his 7-year anniversary with the city, so he started just before I joined the city. But he oversees all of the residential inspections in the community, single family and most of the multifamily as well. And so he sees a lot of the work that's going on in the department. That concludes my staff report. I just wanted to highlight a couple of the larger projects that were going on, but if there's any other questions, the three of us are more than happy to answer.
Doesn't appear that there's any more. Very, very succinct, very efficient. Thank you. Does the board have any comments? No? Only comment I have is everybody's staying up to date on the landfill. So love all the new signs that are out there. Saw some new ones, saw the banners, and now the big wooden black signs are out. And continuing to make progress at Jeff City yesterday, so that seemed to be very positive.
I would note, only because I spent the last hour listening to it myself, if you weren't able to make it to the hearing yesterday, the audio was posted online from yesterday, so it is worth a listen if you're interested in some of the comments that were made yesterday, just again to stay up to date. So encourage you guys to look that up.
Great, thank you. If there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we're done. Thank you.